Hello everyone, and welcome back to the AYS podcast. My name is Cailee. I'm the social media coordinator here at AYS. Today we'll be interviewing Rory, also known as the current CEO. Say hi, Rory.
Hello everyone.
Hi, Rory. Alright, so we're going to ask a couple questions. I know you did a Q&A recently, but there's some other questions we would like to ask you. Are you ready?
Yep.
Alright, so first question. When was it you originally joined AYS, and what was the member count like?
So I joined back in, it would have been around a bit after July of 2017. This was back when there were only a few hundred members in the server.
Oh wow.
I remember, I don't really remember before I became staff. I just remember that Equinox pinged everyone saying that he was looking for new staff members, and I applied for it, and that's really all I actually remember before becoming staff.
So Equinox was just like, I needed staff help.
Yeah.
Alright, next question. Once you joined, what did you do first?
So before I worked at AYS, I ran another server. It was called GTA Modding Support. So if you don't know, with Grand Theft Auto you can have mods, and with mods come a lot of technical issues, because they're not officially supported by the game itself.
Yeah.
It's all community made. So my server helped out with people setting up mods for that. Because at the time I also made plugins for GTA, which was pretty cool. So that's what I don't remember if I advertised it. I really just do not remember having any recollection, but I would presume I would have joined AYS to advertise GTA Modding Support, and would have gone from there.
Alright. Okay, next question. How did you join in the first place, and how did you find it?
I presume I would have found it on Discord Me, because that was really the only actual listing site back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Besides that, it would have been, so my reason to join would have been to advertise my server. But I would have found it through Discord.me, because I'm pretty sure they were only one of the, or discordservers.com, I think. They were only one of the few listing sites back in the day.
Yeah, back then there were only like a few, and then everyone decided to jump into that.
It was very small.
Yes. Alright, and then when was the first time you became staff, and what position was it?
So it was actually the morning of my, I was going overseas that year, and it was about 3 AM I'd woken up because we had a very early flight.
Mm-hmm.
And back then we had a head admin. His name was Trashman, and he DM'd me around then, and I was awake, fortunately, and we talked about, he kind of interviewed me, and he gave me the position. Back then there were two positions. There was moderator and admin. I applied for admin, and essentially there was no real difference except one role had admin. That's essentially how I became staff, and this was back in August of that year, so 2017.
Oh wow.
So many years ago.
Okay. So how did you work your way up to the chain of command?
So first off, I started as an admin.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a few admins back then. I came up with the idea, so now we have the development team. Back then I had the idea of making this team called the server development team, and essentially that would work on growing the server and developing it further. So I headed up that for quite some time, and then next I think Trashman left, and I was quite good friends with Equinox at the time, so I became the operations manager. So I did what kind of John does today, but back then we didn't really have departmental checks or things like that. I kind of just did random things, like advertising, stuff like that. So after that, I made a proposal to Equalex because back then Equalex he'd be gone for like I was essentially owning back then because I kind of with Trash Man because Equalex he'd be gone for weeks at a time because he was very busy with school and stuff.
Yeah.
So he would he'd be gone for weeks and I'd essentially run everything. Then that's I think it was like April of 2018 or something. I'm not too sure. That I made the proposal to Equalex for me to take over as the owner, and we did like a bit of a trial owner period, and he eventually agreed to it, and yeah, that's how I became owner.
All right. So next question is, what do you do on a typical day?
So while running at AYS, I'm also a full-time student. So I generally start my day at 6:30 in the morning, and since I drive myself to school and school's pretty close, I usually leave at 8 for school, so I can spend about an hour or so working on AYS in the morning.
Uh-huh.
Generally, what I walk in the morning is just checking what's been happening rather than actual tasks because a lot of stuff happens overnight that I got to check in on. Generally at school, I keep it school time only, and then after school, I'll generally do 2 to 3 hours of homework, and then I'll spend a couple hours doing AYS work. And then generally on the weekends, I'll spend the majority of my Saturday working on AYS. So today, for example, I've been up since about 6:30, working on AYS stuff. Saturday is generally meeting day because it works for everyone. So I've had a few of those, and it's generally just a time where I can put my head down and get stuff done.
Geez, 6:30 in the morning. I would not be able to do that. All right. And what are you most proud of in the AYS network?
I'd say the community and the staff team we have working behind us. There's so many awesome people that we get to work with, so many community areas where we get to help out. That's probably one of the most things I'm proud of, being able to have built this community up of other server owners and people who are dedicated. Yeah, that's mainly what I'm most proud of.
All right. So what is your main objective?
It's always been to help servers grow. That's why we created AYS in the first place. We might just be an advertising server, but over time we've also implemented new things to be a big growth server as well. So back in the day, we really only had advertising. Before I worked at AYS, I ran a server I ran a kind of business called Inspire Pro, and we were basically kind of what the small server team does today. But we did it for basically any size server. I guess that's where it all started from. Then I expanded to AYS and helped things like Discord Expert, Liam, all to help servers grow.
Okay. So what inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
So this goes back to my very, very early childhood. I always remember in kinder, so when I was like 4 or 5, I liked. How do I phrase it? I liked leading. That was always one of my favorite things to do. Taking control of situations. And then I guess in primary school I started, making I started making my own businesses and stuff. They might not have had any customers or anything, but it was always the thrill to, grind at it. I remember in year, I think 7, I made like a freelancing company with a couple of clients where I made websites for them. And also in primary school, I ran a business that I had other kids from school helping with. We didn't have any customers, but it was always fun to work on. And I guess that's what's brought me today. It's just the thrill and the grind of running businesses.
Yeah. So is there any famous CEOs that you look up to?
I'd say mainly the ones in the tech industry themselves, so such as Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Well, he was the founder, but still. I think those are very influential people. Also people like Warren Buffett.
Okay.
There's also some smaller people I like. There's guy called Nathan Chan. He works at a company called Founder. It's based in Melbourne. Also, there's a guy called Sabri Shubi. They both run marketing-ish companies, and I've always looked up to them as like what kind of we want to be like one day.
Alright. So what would you say to someone looking to start a company or a business on Discord?
I'd say the number one rule, well, there's actually two rules I'd say. It's gotta be unique. So, you can't go copy some other idea. There's so many community servers on Discord now, and I've said this so many times really. If you go make a community server, no one's gonna join it because there's just so many nowadays. You gotta make it unique. So if you want to make a community server, make sure there's something unique about it. Whenever you have like I don't know if it's like dedicated to a TV show or something like that. That always helps with bringing people in because there's servers like I think Chill Lounge.
Chill Zone?
Yeah, Chill Zone. They have 150,000 members. It's basically about getting in early in that. There's just so many community servers nowadays, and yeah. And second of all, I just say just do it. A lot of people think about doing stuff, but they never actually do it. The best thing you can do is just start doing it. You learn as you go. That's really the best way to start on Discord.
Mm-hmm. I would say if you're gonna start a community server, you want to base it around something. Don't just make a community server just to make one.
That's a fair point because it's very generic.
Yeah. So the last thing is describe yourself in one word.
I'd say dedicated. I spend a lot of time on AYS. I really enjoy it. I give my heart and soul to it. It's really a massive passion of mine.
All right. Well, it looks like that's all the questions I have for you. First and foremost, I would like to thank you, Rory, for coming today, and everyone at home listening right now that made it to the end, of course. We will have more interviews with management members in the near future, so stay tuned for that. And if you want to apply to YouTube or social media or any staff team member thing, the link is in the description. So stay tuned and we'll see you next time. Say bye, Rory.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.